Hi everyone, welcome to Impact Academy. So let us continue with the science and technology questions. So last class we've seen till 35, right? So let us continue with the 36 questions. So consider the following statements, okay, regarding the global framework for climate services. Okay, so global framework for climate services. So let us see what is that. So India is embarking on a major program to launch its maiden national level framework towards providing climate services and information. So spearheaded by the Indian Meteorological Department (IMD), National Framework for Climate Services envisions bringing a seamless working platform for users of climate information and services and helping decide mitigate climate risks for key sectors such as agriculture, energy, disaster management, health, and water. Okay, so basically for agriculture, energy, okay, disaster management, especially when there is a cyclone coming or etc. So Indian Meteorological Department and National Framework for Climate Services (NFCS). They are trying to bring a common platform for climate information. So, in line with the global framework, the national framework will be based on country-specific weather and stakeholder needs. Unlike the GFCS, the nodal agency for the formulation and implementation of the national framework in India will be the IMD. Fine. So here in India, it will be the nodal agency will be the IMD. So the global framework for climate services was established by the international community at the World Climate Conference 3 in 2009, okay, for better climate change adaptability, etc. So through the development and incorporation of science-based climate information and prediction into planning, policy and practice. Okay. So at the invitation of the government of Switzerland, World Climate Conference 3 was held in Geneva, Switzerland in 2009. Okay. So it was organized by the WMO, UNESCO, UNEP, and FAO and International Council for Science. Basically, all these uh, top level international organizations for climate change, etc. So the main sources of GFCS, that is the funding, okay, are from the member contribution of the GFCS Trust Fund or through bilateral and multilateral investments for projects in selected countries or regions. So in addition, various sectors can support these projects, okay, listed in a compendium of GFCS projects, etc., etc. All that is fine. So basically, we are talking about a global framework for climate services, and in India, we are having what is this national framework for climate services along with IMD. Okay, they are planning to launch this working platform to bring climate information to mitigate climate risks. So 36 D, neither one nor two. So if I consider about the global framework for climate services, it is the initiative of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. No, it is a we have seen so many organizations, right? All this here, all this. It was organized by WMO. All these things, UNEP, etc., etc. So it was established in the year 2004 after the Indian Ocean tsunami. So it is not 2004, it is in 2009, that is World Conference, okay, World Climate Conference 3. So all these are very important points. So neither one nor two. So consider the following statements regarding Gambusia fish. So let us look at the Gambusia fish. So a new study has revealed that two species of mosquito fish, also known as Gambusia fish, have invaded various ecosystems across India. Okay. So Gambusia fish are the native to the southeastern United States and parts of Mexico, but they have been introduced in various regions for mosquito control. As it said, Gambusia fish will eat the mosquito larvae. So in order to control, they have introduced. But now it has become a problem because their population has grown. So Gambusia fish are often used for biological mosquito control. They are known for their voracious appetite for mosquito larvae. So introducing these fish into the water bodies can help reduce mosquito populations. Gambusia fish are live bearers, meaning they give birth to live young ones instead of laying eggs. So they are known for their rapid reproduction rates. While Gambusia fish are effective at controlling mosquito larvae, their introduction to non-native habitats has been controversial. Okay, in some cases they have outcompeted or preyed upon the native fish also, affecting the local ecosystem. Fine. So wildlife biologists and conservationists consider mosquito fish to be among the 100 most detrimental invasive Asian alien species because the local fish population is being at risk. Okay, so they are not critically endangered because they have a huge population. They have grown rapidly and they have rapid reproduction rates. Okay, so in 2018, the National Biodiversity Authority of the Government of India also designated G. affinis and G. holbrooki as invasive alien species. Basically, this is the Gambusia fish. So, Gambusia fish do not have any symbiotic relationship with olive ridley turtles. So, there is no interdependence or anything. Okay, nothing related to this fish and the turtle. Okay, because like if the turtle eats something and leaves, the remaining part is eaten by Gambusia. Nothing like that. Okay, there is no dependence. There is no symbiotic relationship between them. So none of this. Okay. Consider following statements regarding Gambusia fish. It migrates from the ocean to lay eggs in freshwater. Not. It does not migrate. Okay. So the government has brought the Gambusia fish for mosquito control. So it is critically endangered. Again, it is wrong. It has a huge population, so it is not critically endangered. They are known for their symbiotic relation with the olive ridley turtles. So olive ridley turtles, a lot of what is activities happening. We have this in Orissa and Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh, all these coastal regions. These olive ridley turtles breeding programs are going taking place. Okay, we have this Bahuda Beach, Gahir Mata Beach, and in Visakhapatnam we have the Rushikonda Beach. So all these are very famous places for olive ridley turtles. Fine. So none of these are correct. Okay, it does not migrate. It was brought from that Mexico and USA region. It is not critically endangered and it has no relation with the olive ridley turtles. Fine. So consider the following statements regarding the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Okay, CITES is very important. Okay, CITES, these IUCN, okay, International Union for Conservation of Nature, and we have our Wildlife Protection Act. We have appendixes and all those things. They are all schedules. Okay, so schedules, schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all these are very important. CITES is also very important, which is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. So we're talking about international trade. But if there is a particular animal or a plant which is exclusive to India, but somewhere someone needs it for research or anything, so you have to be able to trade in a legal way also. Fine. So let us look at what is about the CITES. So the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, that is called as CITES. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora is an international agreement between the governments that aims to reduce that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten the survival of the species in the wild. So, just for research purpose or anything, suppose you want to introduce any new medicine, you want to try it on monkeys or chimpanzees, right? So it should not be the case like you round up all the chimpanzees and take them away for experimentation, okay? So that there is nothing left in the wild. So whatever this international trade happens, it should not threaten the survival of the species in the wild. It's a legally binding agreement that is implemented by the parties to the convention, which are currently 183 countries. That means almost all the countries. Okay, there are around 194, 195 countries in the world. Okay, near to 200. So out of that, almost all the countries have accepted this CITES. That means if you want to trade in these, especially those endangered species, you have to take proper precautions and permissions. So all the CITES is legally binding on the parties. In other words, they have to implement the convention. It does not take the place of national laws. So CITES is legally binding. So CITES was drafted as a result of resolution adopted in 1963 at a meeting of members of IUCN. Okay. So IUCN is the International Union for Conservation of Nature. So in one of the meeting, this CITES was drafted. Okay, in 1963. So CITES implementation. So CITES is implemented through a system of permits and quotas. All international trade in specimens of species listed on the site's appendices. So sites will have appendix 1, 2, 3. In the case of this wildlife protection act, we have schedules, right? Schedule and all these things, and this IUCN will have lists, okay, endangered, critically endangered, all those things. So sites will have appendix. So it will have this quotas and all. So what is the appendix 1? It includes all species threatened with extinction that are or may be affected by international trade. So these are very protected species which are threatened with extinction. So appendix 2 includes all species which are not necessarily threatened with extinction but are maybe so if trade is not strictly controlled. So appendix 1, if you put a particular species in appendix 1, it becomes extremely difficult to do any trade in that because they might be extinct also. Okay. So appendix 2 is not so strict but not necessarily with extinction, but still if you don't control it, it is a problem. So appendix 3 includes all species which any party to the convention identifies as being subject to regulation within its jurisdiction for the purpose of preventing or restricting exploitation which is requested of the conference of parties to the convention to add to the appendices. Fine. So appendix 3 contains all those things which the parties are planning to add in the remaining lists. Okay. So the site secretariat is administered by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program, and is located in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, where is UNEP? It's in Geneva, Switzerland. Okay, sites is also secretariat is in Switzerland. It is a pivotal role fundamental to the convention, and its functions are laid down in Article 12 of the text of the convention. Okay, so what is the role? Is playing a coordinating, advisory, and servicing role in the working of the convention, assisting with the communication and monitoring of the implementation of the convention, and the legislation, enforcement, science, training, etc. So 38. So consider the following statements regarding the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora sites. It is a non-binding international agreement, which is wrong, right? It is a binding international agreement between governments to regulate international trade in wild plants and animals. Its secretariat is administered by the United Nations Environment Program. We have seen, yes, it is true. It is in Geneva, Switzerland. So only 2 is correct. So 38 option B is the answer, right? Okay, so let us go to the 39th question. So consider the following statements regarding the International Whaling Commission. Fine. So let us look at what is the International Whaling Commission. So the International Whaling Commission was first established in 1946 to regulate whaling and conserve whale stocks. So we are talking about the big whales in the ocean. Okay, the commission has 88 member countries and meets every year to review the status of whale stocks and adjust conservation measures. It regulates 3 types of whaling: commercial, scientific research, and aboriginal subsistence whaling. So commercial means for using commercial purposes. For example, before what you say, before finding oil in the earth's crust, basically they found that this particular whales has a certain material inside it that can be used for lighting lamps and all. Okay, so before oil was invented, this whaling was a very prominent way of providing with that burning material for the whole world actually. Okay, so commercial whaling in 1986, a global moratorium was placed on the commercial whaling due to over exploitation of whale stocks. However, some countries such as Norway, Iceland continue to engage in commercial whaling. Fine. So in recent years, Norway and Iceland have caught whales commercially. The government of Norway lodged a formal objection to the moratorium decision when it was introduced. Iceland left the IWC in 1992 and rejoined in 2002 with a reservation to the moratorium. So all this is fine. Just remember 1986, that whaling and all. So scientific research, okay, scientific research whaling is permitted under special permits. Okay, Japan's lethal scientific research in North Pacific and Southern Ocean ended in 2019. So subsistence whaling, Aboriginal subsistence whaling is also regulated by the IWC. Aboriginal subsistence whaling is the practice of hunting and killing whales for food, cultural and spiritual purposes by indigenous people, okay, local tribal people who have a long history of whaling traditions. So indigenous communities in Denmark, Russia, all these things, okay, they are permitted to engage in this type of whaling. So these members is and this International Whaling Commission is open to any country. Okay, currently there are 88 members. India has been a member of the International Whaling Commission since 1981 and has maintained a consistent stand on whale conservation. So Japan left it in 2019 and started to catch whales commercially the same year. Having left the IWC is no longer bound by the moratorium. Japanese catches are also reported to the IWC. So other G20 nations that are not members of the IWC include Canada, okay, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey, along with Japan. So Japan is not there. Canada, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, they are all not there. That means they can catch whales for commercial purposes also. But India is a part of the International Whaling Commission because we don't hunt whales. Okay. So this is 39A. So consider this the International Whaling Commission. It adopted a global moratorium on commercial whaling due to the overexploitation of whale stocks in 1986, which is true. Aboriginal subsistence whaling is not regulated by the IWC. That is also regulated. Okay, three things are regulated. One is the commercial, another is scientific research, and another is Aboriginal subsistence. That means the indigenous people taking it for food, spiritual practices, etc. So which of the following countries is part of the recently proposed IPMDA initiative? So let us look at what is IPMDA. So the Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness. Indo-Pacific Maritime Domain Awareness is a technology and training initiative to enhance maritime domain awareness in the Indo-Pacific region and to bring increased transparency to this critical waterways. It harnesses innovative technologies such as commercial satellite radio frequency data collection, etc., and all this shares the information. And at the 2022 Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo, Quad leaders announced the Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Awareness. So this IPMDA, when was it announced? In 2022 in this Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo. Okay. So to enhance the existing maritime domain awareness capabilities. Only Quad countries are members of the IPMD initiative. What are the Quad countries? India, Japan, USA, and Australia. Okay. So there are several of this Quad plus, okay, new Quad, all those things. Just go through. So Quad is the among those things. It is the oldest one. India, Japan, USA, and Australia. So Japan is there, USA is there, India is there. Okay. So 1, 4, 5. Okay, that's all. So C is the option, right? 1, 4, 5 only. So these other countries are not there in Quad. So whatever is there in the Quad, that is also there in the Indo-Pacific for marine awareness. Remember this. Okay, IPMDA is a subpart of Quad, right? IPMDA is Indo-Pacific Partnership. Okay, for maritime domain awareness. Try to remember that. And only those countries which are part of Quad are part of this. And India, Japan, USA, and Australia are part of the Quad, and also this. Fine. We'll continue in the next class.